It's me, Queen J, back with another episode of Let's Get Uncomfortable. I know we're working on a little name change. I'm not used to it. But today, before we even get started into the topic, y'all always know we start with a bit of mindfulness, but I want to do the honors of introducing today's guest. Oh my gosh. Hi, Dr. Palmer. How are
What's up?
you?
Doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm actually like on cloud nine right now. I'll tell you at the end of the episode why,
Cool.
but it's amazing.
Awesome.
um, so with that being said, we're not gonna jump into the topic, and like I said, we're gonna start with a little bit of mindfulness. So it is now time for us to pause, breathe, and relax. It is now time for us to take stock of all that we have, enter a space of no judgment, just grace, so that we can heal our current selves for the betterment of our future selves. It's now time that we enter this space so that we are able to understand what life has to offer and what life has to give. It is now time for us to reflect, acknowledge, again, without judgment, so that we may obtain the tools to achieve a life after trauma if we want it. All right, y'all. I hope that brought y'all a piece of mindfulness and tranquility because it always does me. It's just that woosah moment is so important. But I want to kick things off with you. What led you to chiropractic work?
Cool. So I'm actually a third generation chiropractor. Both my parents are chiropractors, all of my uncles on my dad's side, and so it's pretty much just in the family.
Wow.
And so I was the first child of four, so I pretty much didn't really have a choice. I'm just playing. Just playing. No, but it was my grandfather actually did a lot of things in chiropractic as well, so it was
Mm-hmm.
really just big in the family. And as a teenager, I kind of rebelled against it, but I wanted to help people. My parents already had a practice, and so it really just kind of made sense and just flowed with it. Ended up becoming a chiropractor, and now as I'm practicing, really getting honed in on the philosophy of chiropractic. So the philosophy of chiropractic states the power that made the body heals the body.
Mm.
And it's really just given the right environment. So we as doctors really like to promote, encourage a healthy lifestyle and teach patients how to live a healthy lifestyle. Doctor
Mm-hmm.
in Latin actually means teacher. So that's really the point of what a doctor is to teach patients how to live a healthier lifestyle. So I get really passionate about that aspect. And then it's really cool practicing and just connecting with patients every day for sure.
That's awesome. So when you first started being a chiropractor or working and adjusting patients, did you have any difficulties there? Or did you already know everything because of your parents and your family?
Yeah, no, that's a good question because you would think so for sure, but it was very difficult for sure. It's
Mm,
a very hands-on profession, skill-based profession as well, like
yeah,
manually adjusting stuff like that.
yeah,
So the first 2 years were very difficult and it was very challenging. I was in a fortunate situation to where I worked for my uncle for a little bit, so I got some practice, and then
yeah.
things happened really fast that I took over for him, ended up inheriting or getting the practice. I bought the practice from him, and I've been on my own for the past almost 3 years now. So the freedom of being able to practice how I would
Mhm.
prefer to has been great, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So super grateful for that. But it was certainly really difficult at the beginning time for sure.
That's pretty awesome. So, since we're talking about adjustments, and a lot of people say like I've heard that a lot of people like when I first started getting into chiropractic wellness for myself, I remember a doctor that I had on campus at one point was like, "That's not a real doctor." Like, how do you dispel that? Because I know you probably get that a lot.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. So a little bit of history just going back. Chiropractic's been around for I think about 150 years, maybe late 1800s is when it kind of got discovered or
Mhm.
created, I guess per se. Ever since then, the medical industry and community was really kind of against the chiropractors because, in a way, they were kind of healing people or helping people heal their body faster without the need for all that stuff. So, ever since the inception of it,
Ah.
there's been some tug of war. And honestly, just until recently, like chiropractic has made it into insurance companies. So now it is provided with certain plans and stuff like that. But that took quite a while. And so, there's a lot of kind of back and forth with that, and that's really where it comes from. The medical community made up the word quack, and there's a lot of history that kind of goes into all
Oh.
that, basically.
Well, that
But
makes a lot of sense when you break it down like that. It's like
yeah,
they're just trying to keep you from finding out the secret, you know? Like,
100%.
no, if you know the secret, then you can't keep coming to see us. So let's just, yeah, okay, I see. Because I've never thought of. I was the one that was like, they're a doctor. They're like, no, they're not licensed. They don't have to go to school as long and all this other stuff. I was like, listen, it's helping my back, okay? It's
Hmm.
helping my knees. It's helping my body. So,
And that's what I wanted to clarify too, actually, was that we do go, we're the same amount of hours as like a medical doctor, any other kind of doctor. Some hours and different topics and subjects are a little bit more. So when you look at it on paper, it's actually really
mhm,
even as well.
that's cool. That's cool. So, when you see those those TikToks where
Hmm.
everyone's trying to be a chiropractor, what's the first thing that comes up for you, like in your head?
So like just normal people cracking their joints and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's not ideal. This is the way, and I'll give this a little tip for anyone that's watching. You can
Go
see the
ahead.
visual at least too.
Mhm.
If you're gonna do one of these guys and then crack the neck, I'm rotating the head a lot and using some force. That's
Mhm.
no bueno. Definitely don't do that. Really bad. Very potentially unsafe. Now,
Wow.
if you just do a nice little side bending guy with no extra
Mhm.
force, that's and it will you hear some pops or cracks. That is totally cool. Nice and gentle. Again, not really forcing anything.
Mm.
You don't want
Because I've
to
been seeing people be forcing. I'm like, I don't think you're supposed to do
Yeah.
that.
You don't want to stretch past the normal end range of motion. So, like, if you do the chair, I mean, this isn't still amazing, but just don't
Mhm.
rip it, kind of a thing, too. Just a nice natural movement. You hear some pops and cracks, completely normal and
Oh, I
potentially
definitely was
very
ripping before.
good. Yep. Yep.
I definitely was like, okay, let me just keep. I would be putting force in it because like I don't know. I was very athletic growing up, so I always found that my back hurt after like practice, doing track and stuff like that. So I would be like, okay, let me just crack it in the chair.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't do that anymore. Ever since I seen a chiropractor, I do not do that anymore.
Good. Yeah, good. Exactly. So they're definitely clearing out the subluxations. That's the fancy word for misalignments. And what's happening,
Mm,
this why you have the urge to crack is because some part of that body wasn't moving properly. And so again, if you do it in that natural movement, it's okay, but it's definitely better to for sure see a licensed chiropractor and get the proper adjustment to ensure the body will keep moving and grooving the way it's designed to. And like you said, you'll have less of that urge probably after that as
oh
well.
yeah, for sure. I think one thing to point out though, like if you guys are interested in going to a chiropractor and getting adjusted for the first time, be prepared to like be cracking throughout the rest of the day that you get that session because it doesn't just happen all in one go, I promise.
Yep.
Because
Exactly.
that was definitely it wasn't a surprise for me because I was like, "Oh, this feels a lot better than before." But one thing that my chiropractor always says, you don't want to go when you're already, well, you chiropractic therapy, they always tell me that it's to make sure that your spine is healthy, right?
Yep.
So keeping track of like, oh, your spine is just healthy. But if you get to the point where, oh, my back is hurting, your back is locking up and you can't do stuff, and then you're like, oh, let's go see a chiropractor could have prevented all that buildup of pain, basically.
Yep.
That's what I learned. I was like, oh man, because I was
100%.
going when I was in a lot of pain, and
Sure.
I don't do that anymore because
Yeah.
that just sucks.
It's
Nobody wants to
amazing.
do that.
Pain is the last symptom our body feels, so typically something
Yeah.
is going on before that, and then that something will just break the camel's back. I've even heard people just bending over, pick up a piece of paper is what does it. So,
Mm.
and I love that you said prevention too. That was the last video I just made. I'm trying to start creating more
Mhm.
content regarding the brand and everything, and that was my last video was speaking about the importance of prevention. Basically, prevention is the best treatment. So,
It really is. No, I think I wish I had a known about prevention a lot sooner because I think for the longest because I was in that mindset of like, oh, I have to have this medicine to take care of this ache, or I have to do these certain things the modern way. It was like, okay, then I'm in pain. That's when I need to get help, right? But
hmm
you can get help before the pain comes. Like before that last symptom hits, you're just kind of like because you know way before the pain even happens, like if you're not feeling well. So why wait till the pain comes and you're like, oh, I just take a medicine for it. It doesn't
exactly.
necessarily help, especially because if that pain is reoccurring, you're not doing anything but prolonging that pain to keep to stay, if that makes sense.
Oh
So
yeah. Yep.
yeah,
Not allowing the body to heal faster. So that's the name of the game. Just allowing the body to do its
exactly.
thing because it's designed to heal itself.
Exactly. I think a lot of people don't realize that like we have the power to heal ourselves.
Yep.
We just have to let that happen. Like, if your body says rest, for my gym girlies and my gym guys, if your body says rest, take that rest day. And I'm talking like fully, you don't have to feel lazy, because I know that's a problem, because I'm a gym girly and I definitely be like, I don't want to rest. Like, actually this past week, I haven't done any type of like workouts, like lower body workouts, because I tore my right hamstring
Mm,
lifting. I don't know what I was doing, but something happened.
yeah.
And I was like, okay, let's time to rest. And I was like, I want to work out. I want to do lower body so bad. I was like, if I do that, I'm going to be in pain. So
Yep.
let's just take it easy. It is hard, but rest is necessary,
100%. Yep.
So when you adjust people, like, wait, how often do you adjust people again?
I work currently 2.5 days, so pretty chill schedule, and I have an associate working the other 3 days for me. So we're open Monday through Saturday
Okay. And where are you located again?
in Woodstock, Georgia.
All right. Okay. And you see about how many clients?
On a high month of around 400 patients, and on average probably around 300 to 350, I would say.
Wow. So so what I'm hearing from that is I know what I'm doing. I've been
Yep,
doing this for a
for sure.
while. If you
Yep.
ever want to be interested, that's so cool. So what is your favorite adjustment practice for someone who has like severe lower or mid back pain, like thoracic back pain?
Nice. I love it. That's a great question because the way I adjust is probably a little different compared to some chiropractors.
Mhm.
And I'm glad we brought the TikTok thing to earlier. So even some of the chiropractors on TikTok where you get a bunch of cracks and pops, that's not really the main point of chiropractic. The main intention of chiropractic is to improve the range of motion in the joint, improve motion where restrictions are in the body, and then the body
Mhm.
can heal itself a lot faster. So some of my moves are manuals, and we'll get some pops and cracks here. I'm very light on my more on typically on my adjustments in general. I'm on the lighter side. Um, the approach will be slightly different depending on the patient and what's exactly going on. But for just some typical low back pain, most likely there's probably some degeneration in the joints and the disc
Mhm.
space, depending on the age. If they're over the age of 40, most likely. And some
Yeah.
decompression would be really good on top of the adjustment as well. So making the body line up perfectly and then getting some good decompression is just kind of opening up the disc space. The disc space is in between every single vertebrae. We have a little disc that's like a jelly cushion.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yep, and that's how the body can move and groove. And if that
Mm.
deteriorates or degenerates, that can put pressure on the nerves and then disrupt the biomechanics in that region as well. So important to open up, stretch, and get that decompression, that opening of the
Ah.
space. Yep.
So is that why? So like at the beginning of my sessions that I get, my chiropractor always does this like on my back. And I'm
Just with his
always like,
hands.
what are
Yeah.
they doing? They're not cracking anything. They're
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like what is that?
Assessing like the range of motion, just kind of feeling where it's more
Oh.
tight and feeling where there's more motion or less motion, basically. Yeah.
I was like, they get all that, but see, and that's why I said y'all definitely had to have gone to school. That's why I dispelled it so hard. I was like, y'all definitely had to go to school if you just do this and you're like, oh, okay, let me just figure out, okay, it's this area. Like, that's crazy. I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it takes a lot of training for sure. And so that was like in school, you get some hands-on stuff, but really the
Mhm.
most practice is when you're in practice, literally
Yeah,
adjusting
when you're
people, seeing
working with
people every day.
clients. Yeah,
Yep,
I get that. I get that. So, what's one of the benefits that, do you see a chiropractor?
of course. Yep,
How often?
probably about 1 to 2 times a month, which for me I think is perfect. Someone around the age of 30, I think
Mhm.
2 times a month minimally would be a good 1 to 2 times a month minimally would be. I try twice a week, so I try to go in twice a week and get tuned up. That's what I call it.
Yeah, no, they definitely call it a tune-up for
Yep,
sure. I haven't gone this week yet, but I will. I'm going tomorrow. I'm going
nice,
tomorrow.
good, very good.
But okay, so you go twice. Has it helped you with your range of motion? Has it helped you like did you always have this practice within instilled in you since you were so young and everyone was it just like your family just over here like, "Oh, let's adjust you right now."
Yeah, there's a lot to that. So I can talk forever. If I talk too much on a question, just let me know.
Oh, no, you're good.
So yes, I would get adjusted on the floor from like my dad after practice. And normally at the time I'd be like, "Why are you all annoyed and stuff?" But like now, when I
Mhm.
see all the patients I do every day, that's kind of like the last thing I would want to do when I get home. But anyways, with that, when I was going through school, I had a lot of neck pain. I had a lot of issues, and it wasn't getting corrected. And I was getting frustrated because I'm like, why am I spending so much money in school? Chiropractic is supposed to be the best. And why am I not getting better? I still have pain. I still have whatever.
Mm.
So it made me start looking at other outlets because you can't just rely on one thing for sure, anyways. And what I started to find down the rabbit hole was how important movement is. And so, again, going back to the premise of chiropractic, the power that made the body can heal the body. And the main premise and objective is to improve the range of motion in areas. So you can adjust for
Yeah.
certain regions, but if the muscles are tight for whatever reason, if you have an imbalanced muscles, which everybody has in some way, shape, or
Yeah.
form, that will disrupt the biomechanics. So if you're not doing things on your own to improve that, you can only get so much better. So I had to really start looking at functional movement, biomechanics movement, which is similar probably to physical therapy, but way different and way better. None of us know how to move properly. Even some like high level athletes, they need this certain kind of training. Most of them don't even have it. So down that rabbit hole, I've found some really good sources, and I've been improving my body with that and learning more just about awareness on top of diet, nutrition, on top of positive thinking, spiritual stuff, all kinds of stuff. It's all connected.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, for
It's
sure.
it's that's been the best. So I've really been honing on the philosophy, the power that made the body heals the body, exploring other outlets of what of how we can heal the body faster, and like you said, prevent all kinds of diseases. And in my opinion, chiropractic is really like the base level. So I kind of had a sour attitude about it just when I had a sour attitude about life in general, and I kind of had to go through my whole kind of
Ooh.
healing process, exploration process. Now I feel like on the other side, I'm really embracing like who I'm supposed to be, and it's really cool. So I like to share that message with people, and that's just a little bit of my background too, basically, of how I got here, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool because I just when you said that you kind of had a sour attitude because you had a sour attitude on life. I think that's so relatable because like I feel like the person that I am now, I'm so joyous and I'm so happy and I'm like giving and all this stuff, but I wasn't always that joyous. I wasn't always, in that light, so to
Yeah,
speak. I was more so like before I definitely had a more pessimistic outlook on life. And that's when all the problems were happening within my body. Like a little bit about the whole athlete thing when I was growing up. I was just to put it simple and plain, I was constantly in pain. I was constantly like, oh, I need a massage pillow. Oh, I need a massage, or I need like. And luckily for me, I have some masseuses in my family, so they would come
oh
over and
sweet,
give me massages and
nice.
stuff. But like, it was always this constant like pain. But when I first went to a chiropractor in Cincinnati, I went to Shift Chiropractic Wellness. I learned that trauma is stored in our bodies.
Yes.
So I was telling him like my story, and I was just like, yeah, my back is on fire. I don't know what's going on. And he was like, so this midsection right here is where you store all of your trauma
Hmm.
and you need to release it. And what's behind that is your back. So you're
Yeah.
carrying all of your trauma. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense. But logically, I was not like, when you look at it from like a black and white, oh, that makes a lot of sense. But when you're thinking about it from a logical standpoint, you're like, that can't be it.
Hmm.
Nah, it got to be something else.
Yep.
There's something else wrong. But then when I really started to embrace that, I was getting adjusted, and I was like, wow, I feel so much better. Then I cut off like some toxic relationships and
Hmm.
stuff like that. I saw like drastic improvements from that time, and I was like, okay, maybe it was the trauma. Maybe it was the
Yeah,
trauma.
absolutely. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
so glad you brought that up because I wanted to
Hmm.
touch on the emotional aspect as well because it really is a whole global approach. And so I think absolutely, all we are is energy. Energy can be stored in different parts of the body, and the
Yeah.
muscles, they can be tight, so you can adjust all day. You can even do all the stuff, PT, rehab, everything perfectly. But if you're not addressing the emotional component, you're still not going to let it go. It still could not let go. So I love that you touched on
Yeah.
that too. It's huge.
Do you think that the emotional release part of it comes from having those adjustments along with some emotional aspects, some emotional, I don't even know what the word is that I'm thinking of right now. I was going to say therapy, but maybe not therapy. I don't know. I'm a huge advocate for therapy though. So, like if you're thinking about how, like, let's say the tension is in like someone's arm or someone's neck, what would you say like that emotion equates to? Like does that correlate like that, or does it correlate more so like on a global scale of like, oh, when you're angry your entire body is off whack?
I think it's possible. I'm sure there's a chart somewhere with some sort
Mhm.
of energy meridians, maybe some acupuncture points, with certain things that certain emotions that can get stored in certain places. I'm not familiar with it, but I'm sure there is.
Mm.
Um, what was the other thing I was going to say too, really quick? Oh, but everything's connected. So like, I don't know that one for sure, but like your teeth, for example, every single tooth is connected to a certain muscle in the body. So
What?
sometimes, yes, teeth issues could be from another part of the body going on too. So it's just, everything is
Oh,
connected, and it would make sense that if there were certain emotions that could potentially get in certain places for sure.
that's crazy. That kind of opens your mind up
Yeah.
even a little bit more, because it's like, well, what it begs the question, what am I not addressing?
Hmm.
But that's the question that a lot of people don't want to like touch. A lot of people are just like, I don't know. I know what I'm not addressing, but I'm not going to address it for a reason.
Exactly.
Let's get uncomfortable, y'all.
Yep. I
But
love
like
it.
that's the whole point of healing. It allows you to get to that root of like, what am I not addressing? Like, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like something that someone did to you. It could be, how am I showing up in a certain light? You know what I mean? A
Yes.
lot of people don't like to see themselves in the mirror. A lot of people don't.
It's hard. Very
Yeah,
hard. Because
definitely.
honestly, everything is your responsibility. So that's why I love teaching patients about self responsibility, personal health
Mhm.
responsibility, and not rely on medications or just the medical system, but also really just personal responsibility in your entire life. Every single thing is your responsibility, from your finances to the way your life is to the thoughts and
Yeah.
everything like that. And that all affects the healing process. Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think that a lot of people want to look at it from this global or like this universal aspect of like, we are in control of our body and we can find these resources that are available to us and things like that, because it's a lot of work.
Oh, yeah.
And let's be honest,
And we
a
weren't
lot of
taught it.
people are like, it's cool.
Yeah.
The work doesn't matter. I'll
Yep.
be fine. They get I had a recent guest on, and she was saying that a lot of people are so comfortable and they'd rather stick with their familiar health
Yep.
than to explore the unknown where they could find a familiar peace.
Yes. I love that.
I just think that's something to sit on, y'all. I'm just saying, listen.
Yep.
But so when you get adjusted, do you specify like what you need, since you are like, are you like the hardest patient?
Probably. Yeah, I do. I do, because like it's kind of going back to just like my journey too and everything like that. I,
Mhm.
I I adjust the way I would prefer to be adjusted. And I feel like there's a lot of really intentional, logical reasons as to why I do
Mhm.
what I do, and it is hard trying to tell someone else exactly what to do, and then it seems like they never do it right how I would do it. But
But you can't crack your own back like that. The way that
exactly,
somebody else could, you can't do that. So
yeah,
I see what you mean.
yeah.
I see what you mean.
But my associate, she's awesome.
Mhm.
She adjusts pretty much my style, and so it works really well.
That's cool. That's cool. Do you use any like tools to adjust someone, like the whatever that, the wrench
Activator.
thing? Yeah, the
Yep,
activator.
yep. Does your chiropractor use that one?
No, she
Okay.
doesn't. But she uses, so I asked her to use a massage gun because it was super tight on my back. So she used that, but I've seen her use different tools on other people. And I'm like, does she never uses that stuff? I mean, not that she needs to, but it's like, what does that do?
Nice. Well, so I don't love personally like the neck twisting
Mhm.
cracking moves. I don't do that a lot. I do use the activator, the little clicker tool, quite a bit
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
neck. Because again, I think reinforcing like the functional movements and stuff, that's just what has helped me. It's easier for me to just recommend what's helped me basically. Um,
Ah.
I think there's a time and place for that adjustment, but this is just another example of like the way I kind of think about things. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in my grandfather's era, back, 40, 50 years ago, whatever, people were working
Mhm.
more in factories, on their feet, in farms. They weren't tied behind a desk on a computer. So their
Yeah.
misalignments or restrictions of motions could have been very different than these days. And that move, maybe back then, would have been way more effective. Now, these days, we're all sitting at computers, so we're all looking like this.
Like this.
and
Hunched
is
over.
exactly, and we're already in a really compromised position in the neck. So personally, my opinion, I don't see the benefit necessarily really of like the neck twisting, cracking move because of
Mm,
the new kind of postures we're now seeing in society. And that was what I was noticing and kind of discovering with myself. So I use the
mm,
activator quite a bit. I use another light force instrument to just adjust the way and the direction in the way that I think makes the most sense, especially
so
with the
do you
current times.
okay, do you always use light force? Like what would require like medium force? Like or you know what I mean?
Yeah. So basically, I use the Y strap. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but a lot of online people might be. It's kind of became made infamous from YouTube. It's basically like the strap you put behind the neck, you pull, and it's a form of
Uh-huh.
traction. And in my opinion, it's a really effective adjustment. The adjustment portion is where you give it a little bit of a pull, a little bit of a, like
Mhm.
a yank, very controlled force.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so that's like the most, I mean, would lack of a better term, aggressive move I would use, or forceful, firm. That's
Mhm.
a better word. Firm move that I would do is with that, um,
Mm.
because we're all fighting gravity every day. We're all compressed in the neck, and to me, that makes the most sense. Is to again open up the disc space,
Open up that
lengthen out the
space.
neck. It just feels amazing too, and then you will get some good release, some pops and cracks. And one last move, or one last thought about that move is that
Uh-huh.
with the emotional aspect, I've had a lot of people where I do like a medium to hard firmness pull
Mhm.
adjustment, and they start laughing, they start crying, they have a serious emotional release in their
Wow.
body because it's a pretty good adjustment. So it's a nice
Yeah.
reset, is the way I look at it.
I used to have I think that's perfect. I've never had that. I think one thing I think the only thing that so I've only seen two chiropractors. I wasn't seeing one for about 4 or 5 years. And then I kind of just recently got back into seeing a chiropractor because I was in pain.
Yeah, 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 for sure.
And so, but that was when they were like, that I had never really had someone like break it down to me the way that my new chiropractor does, as
Nice.
far as like pain being the last symptom
Yep.
and the way that you broke it down. So when she broke it down to me like that, I was like, oh yeah, I lift all the time. I go to the gym. You know what I mean? I do all these things. My back's probably not going to get better if I just do this like once and I'd be like, oh,
Yep.
I'm done. Yeah, no, I'm going to
Exactly.
sign up for a membership. I'm gonna
Yep.
make sure that this is a thing in my routine. So I've found tremendous benefits from it. But from the first time that I went, I do recall like having to do something like this and like I was just crying because it
Wow.
was such an emotional release. And that was the first time that I fully understood like the body what is hold on, it's right here. Dang it. It's somewhere. The book that trauma no, here it is. The Body Keeps the Score.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah.
That the book so that book basically talks about how the body stores trauma
Yep.
and how it also stores the emotions attached with the trauma and why some people have PTSD and things like that. So it's a heavy read. It's not really light because they go into detail of like
Yeah.
different clients and stuff. But when I started reading that, I was like, "Oh, that makes a lot of sense why my shoulders go up here when I'm stressed,
Mm-hmm.
but now they're down here because I'm more relaxed."
Yep.
It just makes a lot of sense now. But when I first went to that chiropractor, they were telling me that I didn't have to sign up for a membership because I was maintaining my wellness on my own. But let me be real, I wasn't. It just appeared that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Appreciate
It
the
just
honesty.
appeared that way. I
Yeah.
was not. And I was listening to their advice and I was like, okay, yeah, if I'm maintaining it and I'm doing all the things that I need to do because I'm doing yoga and I'm doing all these different things, that's cool. But then I found that over time, I really wasn't maintaining nothing. It was just
Mm.
getting more like invisible to like the people around me versus me coming home and being like, yeah, I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah.
So that kind of just led me to wanting more of a permanent solution,
I love it.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable, like addressing that first and that self responsibility, and then just
Oh yeah,
realizing, yeah, you got to do it. And that's with anything,
definitely.
honestly.
No, for real, definitely. So I don't know why this is coming in my mind right now, but have you seen the news article? Did you see an article about this guy who was a chiropractor who adjusted this girl's neck, and then like she went to the hospital or something. And
Yeah.
what did you think when you saw that? Like, did you think that he did the wrong thing, or what did you think?
It's hard to say. I for sure like wouldn't want to throw anybody under the bus that I don't know the full context in for
Yeah, yeah,
sure.
yeah.
But basically, what happened in that situation is like the really rare unsafe adjustment with a perfect storm kind of conditions that a patient would have. We learned quite a
Mm.
bit about it in school. They essentially scare you about it, and that is the
Oh.
move I was referring to, the twisting neck, where you twist the neck and crack
Oh.
the
Yeah,
neck.
yeah,
That one,
yeah.
when you're face up. In
Mhm.
theory, it could happen face down too, but typically most chiropractors do the face up version. And so what's happening there
Mhm.
is that patient unfortunately must have just already had a desiccated artery, so there was already like an artery leaking or somewhere, or is torn, micro torn somewhere
Uh-huh.
in the vertebral artery, which is like the main one that goes to the brain. They do the twisting, cracking move with a lot of force. If I ever do that move, I don't use a lot of force. If they do it with a lot of force in that perfect storm scenario, they can rupture the artery or disrupt it, and then that would obviously disrupt the blood flow, and people
Oh,
can have a
wow.
stroke or could get paralyzed, and that's the very rare. It's like a 1 in 3 million chance of happening. But again,
Man.
that's why I just don't do that move in general, because I personally don't think that the it outweighs the benefits of it. It's so yeah,
I
that's my
think
opinion
that's the
of it.
move. That's what's crazy is I don't know. Okay, so is that move where I'm laying down like this and they hit
Whereas they do some bend, they
this
rotate,
part?
and then
Yeah.
do that one. Now,
Is it that?
also, yeah, it is. And I also want to
Oh,
add though
that's what I
too,
get. Well,
is
that's
it
what they do to me, but they'll do like this and then they'll do
so
oh.
there's a lot with like the patient history. I forgot to mention. I want to mention that there's like
Oh
the
yeah.
patient probably had symptoms. The patient potentially did. So there's a lot to realize in the history too. There's a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot of
Yeah,
components.
yeah, of course.
Someone in your case, I'm sure, again, is completely fine. And if it helps you, I by no means would say like stop doing it or don't feel like
Yeah.
it's unsafe to. I'm
Mhm.
sure it said it on the paperwork somewhere, because it should have, at least. Like that's always like that risk and everything like that.
Yeah.
And
There's
I'm sure you don't
always
have any
risk.
symptoms, so I'm sure it's okay. It just the move didn't help me, and I like the Y strap a lot. The Y strap is my favorite
That's what
move.
I'm thinking about doing. I kind
Yeah,
of want to try that.
and
Cuz
it
does
is
that release all of that from here?
it releases everything. Sometimes on a good enough one, you'll feel all the way down to the tailbone.
Wow.
And from what I was told from my mentor that taught me how to use that, is that it's the
Mhm.
safest adjustment out there, because there's no rotation element. The only time you're starting to get borderline unsafe is when there's rotation in the neck, because now you could be compressing one of those arteries if there was
Mm.
already an issue there. Then you have a forceful vector, and so
That
the,
makes a lot of sense
the Y
though.
strap is
That's
safe.
I'm glad I asked because
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm gonna say, "Can you do the Y strap adjustment?" If they got it, if you got it, I'm
And
gonna
or
ask.
the activator. They can always adjust the neck with the activator, which is how I typically do it as well.
Mm,
So you can even try it out.
okay.
If it doesn't seem like it does any as much benefit for you, you can always just try that out.
That's cool. That's really cool. I think that's what I like the most about any type of service where you're getting some type of wellness benefit from your body, where like whether it's massages, whether it's a chiropractor, whatever that is, or even acupuncture. I
Oh yeah.
like the ability for me to be able to be like, okay, this is me working on my boundaries a little bit, where I can say,
Yeah.
no, that's too much pressure. No, don't do that. That hurts. You know what I mean? Or saying like, can you move to this area instead? Or like this, you know
Yes.
what I mean? Something like that. Because it again um instills that you can heal your body, but you don't have to push the limits to heal your body, if that makes
Oh
sense.
yeah. No, dude, I love that you said that, because that's
Hmm.
something I've struggled with, boundaries just in general. And that's such
Yeah.
a great example of when, it's just, yeah, it's hard to speak up sometimes, but just knowing your body, and you got to do what's best for you, and that's a great time to
Yeah.
do it for sure.
It'll definitely force you to, because you're
Yeah,
like, that hurts. I don't like,
exactly.
no, the pressure's too much.
Yes.
Ease up. You know what I
If
mean?
you Yeah, for anyone out there, if you ever see chiropractor, massage therapist, anyone, or a physical therapist, and anything's too
Hmm.
much, just tell them for sure.
They'll stop.
Yeah.
They'll adjust according to your needs because they don't want to be liable when
Yeah.
you're in pain.
And no pain doesn't necessarily mean no gain. You got to take it easy sometimes. I tell my patients that all the
Exactly.
time. Don't If it's a bad pain,
Exactly.
don't push through it.
Don't push through it, especially for back pain. Like you said, that's whew.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's the worst.
Do you have a favorite like pop or release that you like? Like aside from the Y strap?
Probably like the mid back area. It's always
Mm.
nice. It's always generally really safe as long it's a really safe move. So that's my favorite, and then probably maybe also the white strap. That one too.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna try that Y strap for sure.
yeah.
That's so cool that like I was wondering how like cuz I wasn't sure when to take it back to the whole article where we talked about that guy. I wasn't sure the circumstances surrounding that and I was just like was he a real chiropractor because my thing is this I'm all down for somebody to help me adjust and, crack my back, but please be a chiropractor.
Yeah,
Like that video that I sent you where they were like gonna pull and put the pressure on. I was like,
yeah,
if they're putting pressure on the thighs, I don't know how much force that person is gonna put on my entire back. That's
exactly.
a
Yeah,
lot of pressure. Like, I don't know. I see those now and I'm like, nope, I'm scared.
yeah,
Don't do that.
for sure.
Those definitely scare me.
It's not
Do they
worth it.
scare you?
Yeah. Oh, I've seen all kinds of yeah. My friends, people send me all kinds of crazy stuff online all the time for sure.
Oh my gosh. Because everybody wants to just I think what it is and this is really beautiful. I think it's a lot of people that are like, "Oh, you're in pain. Let me help you."
Hmm.
So let me look this up and I'm gonna look this up and I'm gonna find like 2 videos and I'm gonna do it on you. And
Yeah.
you're gonna trust me. No.
Well,
I'm not the one.
apparently they sell the Weiss drop on Amazon, so please
Mhm.
don't buy it and try to use it on yourself.
Oh my
Not you, but
god.
anyone out there. Like, so it's apparently yeah.
That's not good. Why would they
It's a
what
really cheap
certain
one
things
too.
need to I think Amazon needs to get to a point where they have certain like, "Oh, you're in this career, this is what you
Yeah,
buy.
seriously.
You're in this
Yeah, they're doing
not
too
just
much.
everything for everyone because oh my god, you're not your own chiropractor. You can't do that." And that's like people trying to do like the acupuncture on themselves
Hmm.
and stuff like that. Like yes, you can heal your body, but you might as well pay someone that's licensed to do that.
Oh
Just
yeah,
just a warning, just so you
stuff.
know.
Yeah, stuff like that. There's all kinds of free ways to heal the body, and I love all
Woo!
that stuff too. But definitely go to someone professional.
For sure. Um, I'm trying to think if I have any more questions. You kind of answered everything. Anything you think I should touch on? Anything you want to touch on?
Well, another thing, and I told you when we met, the ice bath
Hmm.
thing. So that's like another kind of
Yes,
passion,
the
I would
ice
say.
bath.
Another, or I say modality, therapy, whatever you want to call it. It's definitely one of my forms of therapy. I have a coach as well, but um, yeah, today was day 404. I need to make my
Wow.
1 year video. It was a leap year this year, so I was blessed with an extra day for 366. And the way that that's changed my life is really indescribable, I would say. Um, the biggest benefit would be the mental discipline, the mental benefit. So, like, my reactions to stressful situations or to adverse events, whatever, it is like
Hmm.
tenfold increase, maybe even 100-fold increase. Like, a couple months ago, when rock smashed my windshield on a beach trip, didn't even phase me. $500 had to fix the windshield. A couple weeks ago, another rock hit my windshield. I'm like, doesn't even phase me. It is what it is. So it's still cracked to
I
the
get that.
second.
I get that.
A deer hit my car last year, and that was a whole nother thing. And it's like every single situation is just it's a great way of letting go. It's allowed me to let go
Mm-hmm.
with like everything in my life. It's such a great metaphor for my life, of just letting go, chilling out, pun intended, and just not like reacting to stressful stuff. And then all kinds of physiological benefits that you get. My skin's like super smooth. It
Hmm.
improves the cardiovascular system. When you do that extreme ice bath and you're in that cold plunge, your body goes in shock temporarily. So your liver
Yeah,
releases
yeah.
shock enzymes, cleans free radicals out of your body, scours the body for just bad tissues, bad cells, heal a
Uh-huh.
lot faster. And it's all about, healing. What can I do to heal my body as much as possible? We live in a crazy
Yeah.
world, all kinds of emotions as well. And there's so many things like that you can do. And that's one of my favorites I've been doing about the past year or so.
When you first started that, because that was gonna be one of my questions. When you first
Yeah.
started the plunge and doing the cold plunges, were you scared?
Hell yeah, I'm scared every day. Every single day. I'm still scared. Every single
What?
yeah, every day.
Every day, even after you've been doing it for this long?
Yeah, and I can like my reaction looks pretty dope. I don't look like I'm freaking out, and that's cool. But every single day is hard, and it sucks every single day. Some days are harder than others, but
How long do
it's
you
still
sit
hard.
in that cold plunge though?
My
Because that's important.
Yeah, my sweet spot is 2.5 minutes. I was doing almost 5 at first. Actually, I'm sure some of your viewers will like this. I like to do angel numbers, so I do 2 2 2 every single day.
Mhm.
I was starting out 4 4 4, and it was a little too much too fast. So doing it every single day, I cut that down and found the sweet spot of 2.5 minutes, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's still impressive. The fact that you even realize like, hey, my body can't really handle 5, but let's go to 2.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's still impressive that you can even make it to 2.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, when you're in the cold plunge, do you close your eyes and do you breathe, or are you just kind of just sitting there and
Sometimes.
like, okay, I don't want
Um.
to freeze, but I
Yeah.
am freezing in the legs.
That is probably most days. Just sitting there, just
Okay.
like, oh, this sucks. Don't want to really be in here. On my
Hmm.
off days, my dad's best friend typically comes and does it with me, and sometimes people will come and go on just my off days as well. So the other day, I had a couple of friends. So it's really fun doing it with friends. That takes your mind off it a little bit more. Sometimes I listen to music, and sometimes I do close my eyes and just kind of like zen out, meditate. Um, Water is a really good like manifestation tool in general too. So I've been trying to intentionally use some of my I want like manifestations, dreams in the ice bath
Yeah.
and try to accelerate it kind of in the ice bath too. I'm really into that. So
Wow. Okay, I've done that once. I'll say this. I did do it once, but
cool.
I didn't do it for really long because I filled my tub up with the cold water and I was like,
Nice.
okay, let's just sit in it. And I just sat in it for a little bit and I was like, my body is freezing. And
Yeah.
then I was like, it's okay. Like, I don't know. All of a sudden, it's kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like I didn't think about the cold anymore.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of sitting there and I was like, this is nice. Why is this nice?
Exactly.
And then after that, I don't know how long I was because I didn't time it. Maybe I probably was in there for maybe a minute. And then I was like, wow, that I felt lighter. It's the same
Yeah.
thing that I get when I do my mindfulness and I do my meditations. I always come out much lighter than
Yeah.
when I went in and like with a clear head. So I was like, oh, that could be a part of my routine, but I just don't know what I want it to look like because cold plunges aren't the same for everybody.
No, they're
So that's
definitely
why I
not.
was like,
Yeah. They're pretty
okay,
hardcore. Um,
yeah,
If you've never done one before, you will probably hyperventilate at first. They were hard for me. That's what I would look like. Like you kind of hyperventilate. You gotta catch your breath.
mhm.
It sucks, and then you kind of ease into it a little bit. It's not too bad. You're sitting in a bunch of ice water, so it's just cold. But you get used to it, and then you feel a lot better
Yeah.
afterwards.
Would you say that would you say that it is a perfect reset for like if you do it in the morning, it kind of like sets your day like, okay,
Oh
I
yeah.
did that.
Yes,
Like,
well, yeah, and like another thing, not that
mhm.
I had like anger issues, but I think everyone deals with anger in some way. Like
Yeah.
if you're angry and you do an ice bath, when you get out, I can almost guarantee you 100%, like you won't be angry anymore. Just for 1 or 2 minutes in the ice bath, it is an absolute reset.
Wow.
Great way to start the day though. That's how I start my day every single day now. But yeah, great reset for sure. You will
Can
change
I
your
ask
mind immediately, your mindset
Okay,
immediately.
can I ask you what led to you doing the cold plunge? Like what inspired this transformative action?
Yeah.
Cuz it is transformative.
Do you know who Wim Hof is?
Who what?
Wim Hof, have you heard of him?
I don't think so.
So Wim Hof is basically this like crazy European dude. He set
Mhm.
a bunch of world records. He essentially has created the Wim Hof method. So what that is 3 pillars: 1/3 ice, cold exposure, 1/3 breathing, and 1/3 mindset. So the mindset kind of does like yoga, meditation, stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Cold
yeah.
exposure, and then he has a breathing technique that I do nearly every single day as well. He's refined it from all the different breathing techniques out there. So
Wow.
think I got his book for Christmas or something. Read his
Uh-huh.
book. I was like, oh, this dude's a badass. His whole brand is about cold baths and breathing and mindset. And so I wanted to do an ice bath, and then I found out one of my other buddies did them occasionally. So we literally
Mhm.
had this little blow up tub. I have some cool videos of us just like we had to go to some apartment complex and the car wash thingy just to get the water. We buy like $50 worth of ice, throw it in
Gotta start
there.
somewhere,
Yeah,
guys.
and we would do that. We did it like maybe not even once a month, probably like once every
Mhm.
few months. And I always wondered or like was like, what if I could do that every single day? What would my life be like if I could do that every single day? So it was
Wow.
always kind of a goal. That was probably about 3 or 4 years ago. I started doing them just randomly, and
Mm-hmm.
then started doing a little bit better just in life. So I was able to invest probably about 2,000 into the ice barrel, which is this big barrel I have.
The one that you,
Yeah, that I
wow.
go in, and then for the ice machine it was like another 1,000, so 2,000 maybe is total. I bought like an
Mm-hmm.
industrial size ice machine, and yeah, just doing them every day since July 1st, 2023. It's just been amazing. Like it's just so many benefits. It's life changing. That's really all I can describe it as. I feel like
No,
honestly,
because I've heard that a lot. Like, I have heard that there's extreme benefits in starting your day with a cold shower or a cold plunge or something to shock your system. I don't know what does it actually do when it shocks your system again?
your liver releases shock enzymes, and then
Mhm.
your that just goes throughout your body. It scours all the free radicals. Um, what else does it do up right off the top of my head? So your blood vessels are gonna constrict and then
Yeah,
dilate.
they constrict for
Go so
sure.
that's kind of working out the blood vessels. So that's improving the
Uh-huh.
cardiovascular system. The mental aspect is just amazing. What's like another thing?
It's
Oh,
kind
and
of
then
like,
brown fat. That was
oh,
the last thing too. Brown
the
fat
breath
activation.
effect.
Brown fat activation. So brown fat is like really hard to activate, and because
Mhm.
you kind of start shivering a little bit afterwards, you're burning off brown fat, which is just supposed to be really healthy for the body too, I guess.
Ah, okay. I was gonna say, it's kind of like this is crazy, but it is kind of like when you start your day. I don't know if anybody else does this. Sometimes I do this. Like, I would start my day with a splash of water on my face, a
Nice.
splash of cold water on my face, and then I'd be like, "All right, I'm awake."
Hell yeah.
Okay, and then I'll wash my face. You know what I mean? I don't know why, but it does. It does work. It does work.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like that, but it's your whole body.
It wakes you up.
Huh.
Yep.
I think I could definitely see myself doing it. I don't even, the thing is, like, there is a slight level of like, oh my god, I am scared, but it always disappears like immediately
Yeah.
almost after. Like, once you do it scared, you're good.
Yeah,
That's
it's
cool.
amazing. It sucks every day, which is why it's such a good just like life metaphor, just like doing something I
Mhm.
don't want to do. And there's many places I want to improve in my life. So I've got the ice bath down, but I need to improve and get some other better habits like every single day. I think that will
Mhm.
stack. My life will just keep stacking on top of that, and that would be great.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's amazing.
Do you think that okay, wait. Break down, is it Wim Hof
Yeah.
or
Yep.
Win? Okay.
Wim
Can you
Hof.
break down his pillars? You said, dang it. You literally just said it, but I'm thinking about the
Cold
breath.
exposure,
Yeah.
and then breath
Code
work
exposure,
and
breath work,
mindset.
and mindset. Okay,
Yeah.
break down the breath work. Is that something like, what's that look like for you?
He has his own technique that he's like refined from all the different kinds of breath works out there. It's on
Mm,
YouTube. Anybody can do it. It's a 10-minute long video. You do 3 rounds. You're going to
okay.
inhale completely, exhale completely 30 times. On the 30th breath, you inhale completely, exhale completely, and hold your breath
Wow.
for 1 minute. And then the next two, second and third round is 1.5 minutes. Anyone that's trying it, if you don't make it the whole time, don't worry about it. You'll get better as you keep practicing it. But
Mhm.
that's really huge too because your body is going to go into alkaline mode. So your blood will literally be more alkaline for about 30 minutes to an hour after that.
Okay.
And then according to Gary Brecka, he's a biologist. He's an extremely smart guy, really big on TikTok and stuff.
Uh-huh.
The presence of oxygen is the absence of disease. So he will miss a commercial flight before missing his 3 rounds of Wim Hof breathing every single day because when you are getting that much oxygen in, you're just hyper oxygenating your body, and that's one of like the
Mhm.
essential atoms for life, like it's essential pieces of
It
life
is.
is
It
oxygen.
is. That's so crazy that we're talking about this, because okay, so the previous episode that I just did it with this woman named Cielo Stein. She has a breathwork studio in
Nice.
Middletown, Kentucky now. But we were talking about the benefits of like viewing your, well, not even just viewing your breath as a life force, but understanding that it really is essential.
Oh yeah.
And so we were talking about how when you go inward, you can come out so much clearer. And
Yes.
I think that that is so mind-boggling, because I feel like when I do my mindfulness stuff, I'm like, I feel lighter. I feel
Yeah.
better. Like, I find myself when I'm in an adverse situation, like you said earlier, I find myself breathing And I'm
Yeah.
just like, it doesn't matter. Like
Yep.
like a situation just happened with me in my car about a month ago before the summit that we met at.
Yeah.
I basically had my car almost get stolen. Like someone tried
Oh
to steal my
man.
car. And I was like, okay, I was panicking. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. But then afterward, I was like, I gotta run.
There you
I was
go.
like,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Exactly.
Like, but everybody else was like, "Oh my god, are you okay?" I was like,
Yeah.
I'm chilling. Like, I'm really there's nothing that I can do that hasn't already been done.
Hmm.
Like, I can't go and find the person. It's cool. Like, I'm upset, yes, but what's realistic for me to do in this situation?
Yep.
Fix my car or worry about it for the
Yep.
rest of eternity. Like, so I definitely get what you're saying because the way that I react to certain things now, I'm just like, doesn't matter. Like my phone just got like I accidentally broke my phone on Saturday. Didn't mean to do it. Like I said, complete accident. I showed my friend. My friend was like, "Oh my god, I hope you get a new phone." I was like,
Hmm.
"Y'all, chill. It's okay." They're like, "Oh my god, your phone's glitching." Y'all, I know it's glitching. It's
Yep.
okay. I can see. It's fine. I get it fixed. They're like, "Oh my god, congratulations!" I'm like, "It's really not that big of a deal." Like it's all. I don't know. It just shifts the way you view things, and
Hmm.
it shifts the way that you handle things too.
Oh yeah.
That's so crazy. Wellness is amazing, y'all. If y'all don't know, y'all should know.
We got everything we need in our body, and that's a beautiful way of
Yes.
like instantly changing the physiology, which is pretty much what you're saying, I guess, just given the scientific aspect of that. You're
Mhm.
literally like moving stagnant energy out, releasing that, and then you feel lighter. Your body's more in parasympathetic mode now. You're less in sympathetic, which is the fight or flight, as if you were fighting a bear. And
Whew.
our bodies are all
Yeah.
in that, so we got to rebalance it to more parasympathetic, and that's a phenomenal tool. Yeah.
It's crazy that I mean, do you think our bodies were ever just naturally in parasympathetic and then we just switched like
That's a
over
good. That's an
time?
interesting question. I've never thought about that. I would. The first thing I would say is probably not,
Mhm.
because I feel like balance is such like a homeostasis, and balance seems to be like a universal theme. And it's, we
Yeah,
need to be in
yeah.
sympathetic sometimes to like do stuff. We need the adrenaline to
Oh yeah, for
um,
sure.
do things. But I think just right at the top of my head, like 50-50 would be ideal if we could just get back to that balance. And I would say almost everybody's probably like 90-10 or something, because even just sitting in traffic, your body's in sympathetic
Yeah.
mode. Your body's acting as if you're about to go fight or run away from like a bear, or have to fight in general. Like, so
Mhm.
everything is just cortisol's up, stress hormones, blood pressure's going up, and long term, that's not good for the body. So that's why it's so important to do the
Yeah,
breath work, to do ice baths, to get adjusted, to
definitely.
exercise, just to reduce all that, the stress, the silent killer,
There's
100%.
a lot of work that goes into maintaining your wellness, but I want to point out to the warriors, it's very well worth it.
Hmm.
Like if you're thinking about starting your wellness journey and starting your healing, it's important for you to understand that while I'm mentioning a whole bunch of tools and different modalities, they all work together to improve you in your life the way that you want it to. Like you don't have to go to therapy and do all the things. You can choose which one suits you and your needs. I hope that made sense. Because
Beautiful.
I feel like there's so many self-help books out there. Oh, wash your face when you wake up first thing in the morning. Do this, do this, do this, do this. Take all the tools. But at some point you have to utilize those tools. It doesn't do you any good to have all these tools and just be like, "Okay, I got them all.
Yep.
I know what to do now." No, you have to use them.
Hmm.
So, I just think that that was really important to point out. But I think that cuz I look at wellness from a holistic standpoint too, is just like the entire system of the body because everybody's body reacts differently,
Hmm.
but we all exist in this, like you said, fight or flight all the time.
Hmm.
And I think that's the thing where, like in the previous episode, like I said, Cielo was saying that the society that we live in just applauds that.
Yeah.
But if we look at anybody else's society outside of the US,
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, you could go slow. You could have an hour to 3 hour lunch break. You can eat more. You can
Yep.
do this. You can." I'm just like, "Oh, I want that."
Oh yeah.
I want that implemented in my life more. I'm tired of cortisol, you know?
For real, man. For real.
Man, definitely. Thank you so much for coming on. Where can
Of
we find
course.
you?
My Instagram is just my name, Palmer Ribley. You can find me on TikTok. My website is www.sacred-alignment.com. So my YouTube is attached to that. I would say on the forefront of social media and trying to start creating my presence there.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, anybody that's in the Atlanta Woodstock area, I'd be happy to take care of you. We take all kinds of insurance in the office. But also check out my website because I'm really trying to create a brand of offering a lot of value for free.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like I've just, like you were just saying, actually with the whole like action part, I've read so many books, but you can read all the books if you don't do anything about it, it's not gonna
Yeah.
nothing's gonna change. So I'm finally, I feel like, accumulated knowledge for the past 10 years really, and just now starting to implement it and start to work with it and do some action. So I'm really excited to start
That's
sharing just
good.
everything I feel like I know about the holistic health, natural health, some spiritual type things and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's all coming to the YouTube and coming more to Instagram and TikTok coming soon. And thank you so much for having me. I didn't have a great intro because I was just so excited to start talking about it. And this was my very first podcast ever. So I appreciate you having me and starting this.
Yes, it was awesome. No, you had a good intro. It's totally
Cool.
fine. Like I'm excited that you were able to come on and share, your thoughts surrounding chiropractic wellness because honestly, it's necessary
Yes,
for sure.
absolutely.
All right, y'all. I said I had a little bit of a surprise for y'all, and I'm really excited. So to the warriors and everybody who's listening, I did something huge today. So Queen J Wellness is real. And if you don't know what that is, Queen J Wellness is my business. I officially am an LLC now
Ooh,
as of today.
congrats.
So
That's the
that's
best
the
feeling
good
ever.
news.
Nice.
Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely very surreal. I was like, oh my God, it's real now.
Yeah. That's
So stay
amazing.
tuned for more content coming from me about that. Definitely look forward to live shows, look forward to more services, more products and resources available to you guys as you go along your healing journey and your wellness journey. And the last thing I want to point out is this shirt says, "Dear me, I know you're scared, but do it anyway. Love me." And that is actually not, I did not make that. That is God is dope. If you want that shirt, it's that God is dope. But I just felt like it was so fitting because throughout this entire journey, I found that even though you're scared, it's very much worth it for you to do it anyway. Face it scared. Whatever it is in your healing journey, do it scared. But this has been Queen J with the Let's Get Uncomfortable podcast. Thank you for seeing and hearing me. Peace.
Peace.
Can you stay on for a sec?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.